Hey everybody, what can you say about today? I think today was a match of historic proportions. We have been waiting for a long time to see who is going to step up. What next gen is going to step up? We've been looking for years who can take out Rafa, who can take out Roger, who can take out Novak, not just once, but on a consistent basis, who can be the next real champion, not the pretender. And there's been arguments that, these guys are so young, they need time to develop their game and just wait. They're basically grooming themselves to become champions, but it really hasn't happened yet. And along comes Carlos Alcaraz, and boom, like that, he is catching fire. And today, he takes out his idol. Imagine that. He takes out his idol, Rafa Nadal, where I believe a year ago they might have played on the same court, and they gave Alcaraz a little birthday cake after Rafa trounced him like something like 1-1 or something like that. And today, Alcaraz, the apprentice, takes out the master on the master's best surface, the greatest clay court player ever to play tennis. Imagine that. Imagine you idolizing somebody and you take out your idol on and he's the best ever on that surface and you take him out. And for a lot of the match, it was pretty convincing. And Rafa, in typical Rafa fashion, which I think he likes and I think Carlos likes, didn't give it to him. He fought to the very last point, and he made even though the very last point was fantastic, but he hung around, didn't play his best tennis. Maybe he was tired from yesterday, but the Alcaraz firepower is undeniable. You can see that the serve is bigger than Rafa. I think the forehand is faster than Rafa and at times looks heavier than Rafa. The backhand is stronger. And at this point in their career, the movement is faster. So like there's the only box that Rafa can check is the experience box and the heart box and the mental toughness box. Those are things that Rafa still has to his advantage. But he has taught the young apprentice well to where this kid, and I think it's a big reason why a lot of people are excited about Carlos, because we feel like maybe this is the real deal. Maybe this guy can be a real champion because he's been molded by Rafa, by coming up in Spain and having the opportunity to hit at Rafa and be at his academy, and just having that person, that amazing example of Rafael Nadal as your role model from your home country, and you want to live up to all those expectations that you've been seeing your whole life. And I think it's going to make him tough and humble and be able to back up these kind of results on a pretty consistent basis, unless something terrible happens to where he gets hurt or something like that. I see this guy as a real champion, and we've been waiting for it for a long time. And I've said on this channel, I know you guys remember, I always say, look, ever since I've grown up and watched tennis, I never had to wait and wait and wait to see who was going to be next, who's going to be the next champion, especially when you see, the people mastering the game kind of on their way out age-wise. You always saw some young kid come and take it from them, okay? The first example I had was McEnroe. He was the first person I started watching, and he came and he took it away from Borg and Connors. Then Lendl came. He developed a little later, but, he was still top 3, top 5, and went right there with those guys. Then he kind of took it from McEnroe. And then the next person to come along was Boris Becker at 17 years old. He didn't have to wait. He didn't need to be 24, 25 to develop his game. No, Boris came in, bam, I am here. Wins the Wimbledon title, first time out, diving all over the court. Boris, I hope things are going to be okay for you in prison. That's terrible that's what happened to Boris. But the next person who came around in my memory because then Lendl was still, it's like Lendl dominating. You had a couple of people dominating. Lendl, Becker was there. And then all of a sudden you started to see Agassi and Sampras come, and they came on the scene. And especially Sampras, right away, U.S. Open champion. And then next was Federer. Federer just took it by storm. And then since Federer came, it's just been Federer, Nadal. And when Nadal came, boom, Nadal was on the scene just like that. Then Djokovic. And then it's just been this drought of nobody being able to replace them for 20 plus years. And it's just been weird. And, at times you think, oh, well, I think this Dominic Dean might do it. Now he's like 27, 28, 29. Probably not going to happen for him. Berrettini's that old. You don't think of him that old, but Berrettini's that old. And then Zverev. A lot of people thought, well, Zverev, clearly, look at this guy. He's like 6'6", 6'7", moves well, big forehand, backhand. I don't know if he's going to do it. Then it was like Tsitsipas. Surely Tsitsipas is going to break through. I don't know. So now Alcaraz comes, and I don't know. I got a strong feeling we saw something special. I think it was a big moment today. It was a big moment after the match. Getting goosebumps right now, just talking about it, just like I did watching it. When Rafa is walking off the court, off his home turf of clay in Madrid, Spain, his home country, both their home countries. He's walking off to a standing ovation, and Alcaraz is standing there giving his idol. Think about that. Giving his idol his proper sending off the court with his own standing ovation after he just beats his idol. I mean, wow. I think this was a huge tennis moment. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think of Alcaraz? Do you like him? Do you think that he's the real deal? I think he's the real deal. Now, is he going to put up the numbers that Rafa put up and that Djokovic and Federer put up? That's crazy to compare him to that. And I think that a lot of people get upset where people are going, well, this is too much too soon to put on Alcaraz to say, like, is he the new king or this and that? That's not what I'm saying at all, as far as, putting up those crazy gaudy numbers that Federer's put up and Nadal, Djokovic put up. I don't think he's going to do that. We'd have to wait and see. But I think for sure this kid is a champion. I think for sure he is going to win a Grand Slam within the next 2 years, for sure, if not this year. And I think he will be the new leader of Spanish tennis very, very soon here. Rafa's going to have to give it up in the next year or two. He is 36, 37. So, I mean, he can't keep at this insane level. The injuries are coming more and more. So he'll be the new king of Spain in the next couple of years. And I think he is probably going to be number one in the world in the next 2 years. This is what I see. Am I saying too much too soon? I don't think so. Because think about it. Federer, it'd be great if we get to see him play another Wimbledon. He's not going to be number one in the world again. He's probably not going to win a Grand Slam title again. That would just be insane if he did. Nadal, who knows? Out of the three, he probably now looks the most stable. Everybody would have said Djokovic after the U.S. Open, including me, but things change fast in the sport. That whole controversy with the vaccination and taking time off tour, I just don't know how he's going to respond. Now, he's in the semifinals tomorrow. This is going to be huge. Another huge test for Alcaraz. He beats his idol, Rafa. Now he's got to go take out the Joker. Can he do it? Will he do it? It's what needs to be done to become a legitimate champion in my mind, because the fear I've probably had now for 7, 8 years is this is getting, 7, 8 years, guys. I've been thinking this is getting ridiculous. Like, who is going to step up? And the last thing I think the sports wants, and it's getting dangerously close, is that And I've made jokes about it, but it looks like it might actually happen where Roger, Rafa, and Novak retire without anybody really taking it from them. Alcaraz is starting to, and I think that this victory feels more special than just a normal, 2 out of 3 set tournament. I think that this today's win is significant, but it isn't beating Rafa at Roland Garros. That's a completely different animal, and he hasn't done it yet. No one really has done it on a consistent basis. Medvedev got Djokovic at the US Open. Yes, that is true. But, there's some when you're trying to win a Grand Slam and then you went and you did the Olympics and I mean he deserved the win and that's a legit win over Novak, but at the same time I think nerves and exhaustion were also part of that victory of Novak losing against Medvedev. Not trying to take any credit away from Medvedev, but I think that Novak was more nervous than normal, more tired than normal. He won 27 out of 28 Grand Slam matches last year. Man, what a difference a year makes. Bashkar is on, says, how are you doing? Rafa was caught in the Alcaraz. What are you saying here? Rafa was caught in the Alcaraz. We need Roger to stop Alcaraz. Oh my gosh. Now you're totally delusional. You are totally delusional. Guys, come on in with your comments. I want to know what you think about this. New King, yes, mainly because of age. The Nadal played like an aged player. Well, he is. Yeah, he did play. He did. I mean, and just think about how tough Rafa is mentally. Okay. So this is his first tournament after playing through basically cracking his ribs against Taylor Fritz, which he fought Taylor Fritz to the very end when he could barely breathe. That just says a lot about Rafa. Not surprising because it's Rafa. First tournament back, he had an absolute war with David Goffin and wins. Lucky to get that win. So obviously he's not at his top form when it's that hard for him to beat. Not taking anything away from Goffin, but if it takes you that much of a fight to beat him, Rafa's not in his top form, but he wins anyway, and then comes out the next day and has got to play Alcaraz, who is so hungry, and he still manages to get the match to 3 sets, still manages to make Alcaraz serve it out and fights to the end. So all credit to Rafa as always. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Sad, missed the beginning live. Well, I'll rewind and start now. Thanks, Pete. Okay, cool. Well, it's good to see you on live, guys. And, really, I want to see your comments come through. If you're just tuning in, Alcaraz took out Rafa today. He took out his idol. The apprentice took out the master and the king of clay. And he took him out on clay. And he took him out, interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure it was Madrid. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Rafa played Alcaraz, which was a big deal for Alcaraz. You could see it on his face. It was Alcaraz's birthday. They played on that same court. Rafa absolutely kicked his butt and then gave him a birthday cake after. And now all of a sudden, the next, I think it's the very next year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's 2 years. I don't know. I think it's just within 1 year, which is a very Rafa-like. Once Rafa started to come on the tour and he lost to people the first time, usually the next time he played him, he started to beat him or get it very competitive. And if you look at what Alcaraz has done, a year ago he got his butt kicked by Rafa. Then at Indian Wells, he almost took him out, and now he took him out. And even though he won in 3 sets, there was many parts of the match I felt today that was pretty dominating by Alcaraz. Just the sheer number of winners that he was able to produce versus Rafa. But not only that, it's just the court positioning and the heaviness. When we think of heaviness, we always think of Rafa's ball, but Alcaraz's ball looks heavier. Just looks like, looks angry. And it moves through the court too. It's not only kicking up high, it's moving fastly through the court. It gets away quickly. His backhand is bigger than Rafa's. His serve is bigger than Rafa's. And Now I think because of age, the speed is, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say he's just, oh, that, he in general, no matter what age Rafa is, he's a better mover. I think I'd still give the edge to Rafa in the movement department, but certainly in the weaponry and the ability to create winners. I think that this Alcaraz is like a Rafa 2.0, right? Because I think he does in general have a bigger ball, no matter what age Rafa is. I think this guy's ball is bigger, and I think his backhand's better. His serve is better. His mindset has been groomed by idolizing Rafa and getting to know Rafa and getting to pick his brain, and Rafa kind of being in his corner, kind of cheering him on, but at the same time not giving it to him. Said, you got to come take it from me. So, and that's one thing that Alcaraz knows. I can give Alcaraz a lot of confidence. Is he knows, like, okay, this is my idol. My idol's been nice enough to kind of be a mentor towards me. But when I get on the court, he's not going to give me a damn thing. I got to take it from him. He's not going to take pity on the young guy. And, you know, he's going to go out there. He's going to be a killer. So I got to take it from him. All right. Let's see what else you guys are saying out there. Goffin had his chances. Should have taken the win. Yeah, he really should have won that match. He should have won that match. So Rafa was lucky to be playing Alcaraz today and probably tired. Alcaraz is the new sheriff in town. That's what I put as the thumbnail. There's a new kid in town. You guys remember that Eagles song? I'm dating myself here, but a great song. There's a new kid in town. Everybody's talking about the new kid in town. I won't put you through any more of that. But yeah, there's a new kid in town. There's a new sheriff in town. There's a new king of clay in the making, potentially. There's a new number one coming in. I'm not saying, now, again, me saying all that, I am not saying that this guy's about to come on the tour and break all the records set by Rafa, Novak, and Roger. I do not see that happening. You really shouldn't even have that be part of the conversation until you see somebody post up 10 Grand Slam titles, which is ridiculous. Okay. 10 Grand Slam titles is ridiculous. So until someone wins 10, then you can maybe start talking about, can they get to 20 if they're not already 35 years old by the time they get to 10, but they can get to 10. If someone can get to 10 by the time they're 27, 28, 29, you can maybe start to talk about 20. But at no means should we be saying Alcaraz is about to, destroy all the records of the sport. But finally, and I think what people are so excited about, we're not excited to see those records go, but we are excited to see another legitimate champion. Just somebody else, somebody that you look at really taking the torch of the game, the passing of the torch, and it being a real champion. Alcaraz is the first guy I've seen. I've seen other players that I wanted to be, but I could never get the full confidence, give the full endorsement. The closest I was just almost getting there was Tsitsipas, and then he had a big setback. But he was getting there. He was playing really, really good. Then he got to the finals of the French Open last year, and I was thinking, this guy looks like he's ready, maybe. But he's had a lot of setbacks and still seems to have some maturity problems in the heat of the battle. Even against Alcaraz, who Alcaraz seems like he always has his number at 18 years old. He got frustrated and looked like he tried to hit Alcaraz twice out of frustration. Alexander Zverev, first of all, I think a lot of people don't like him. And he's getting older now, and he seems to be missing something up there that I don't think he's a legit champion. Who else? Who else even comes close? This might shock a lot of you. The next closest I see is Holger Rune. He's the next closest I see in physicality. He's a good age to make his move. He seems to have the mindset, a strong mindset. He just won a clay court tournament. He's the next closest I see. I don't see that young Italian. I forget his name. He's got a beautiful one-hand backhand. I don't see him being a champion. I really just don't see anybody except for Alcaraz, and I see Holger Rune. And another thing too that's good about these two guys is now they got a legit window to do it because amazingly enough, Rafa, Roger, and Novak were able to play well enough deep into their 30s to where they could just hold off Dominic Thiem. They could just hold off Tsitsipas and Alexander Zverev to not be able to really start posting up Grand Slam titles. Medvedev, who knows how Medvedev is going to do? Sometimes he looks unbeatable. Other times he's a little squirrely. He doesn't really like the clay court season. Who knows how this whole thing is affecting him? He might not even be able to play Wimbledon, which I think is dumb. I think he should be allowed to play Wimbledon. But, who knows how he's going to be affected mentally by everything going on in his country. So I think the door is wide open for Carlos and Holger Rune. You heard it right here. I don't think anybody's talking about Rune yet, but you should be. And I'm going to start. Those are my two boys. Those are my two boys I see as champions. And the jury's still out on Holger a little bit. I'm saying it right here, right now. Alcaraz has shown me enough to where I know he is going to win a Grand Slam and more than one. And he will be number one in the world. And he will be one of the game's greats. Okay? That doesn't mean his numbers are going to come even close to Federer, Rafa, and Djokovic. I think that's all we can think about since we've seen these guys for the last 20 years. But, I mean, part of the game's greats, you got Lendl, who won 7 Grand Slams, 7 or 8 Grand Slams. McEnroe won 7 Grand Slams. You got Becker, Edberg, a lot of Connors. There's a lot of people like 6, 7, 8 considered until Pete Sampras came around and started to be obnoxious by winning 14. And then after that, those were considered to be ridiculous, gaudy, crazy champion numbers that those guys were doing. So I see, you got to, I'm putting them there first conservatively to win 5, 6, 7. That's what I see. But, if he can get to 10, by the time he's 27, 28, then we can maybe talk about 20. Alcaraz is great. In Indian Wells, Rafa hurt himself pushing against Alcaraz. I am sure Rafa played a measured tennis today. I think the French Open will be when we see Rafa unleash. So you think he was holding something? But I don't think he was really holding anything back today against Alcaraz. I think he was probably tired. So let's see. Love what I'm hearing, says Claudia. She says, I love this idea. What do you guys think? Do you guys like this idea? Or since we have tennis royalty in Rafa and Roger and Novak, is this kind of like sacrilegious tennis talk? Is this, I shouldn't be saying this? What do you guys think? Is this too much too soon? You think he has a chance against Novak? I absolutely think he has a chance against Novak. And I think if Novak can beat Alcaraz tomorrow, that will be a huge confidence builder for him because I think Novak needs some confidence. I think he's been mentally been beaten around by everything that's happened to him off the court and then not getting the amount of match reps he really wants. And now he's kind of, he got to the finals in Serbia in his home country. And now he's here in Madrid and he's in the semifinals. I think he's starting to feel good and maybe starting to get that feeling back of championship tennis. And if he can go and he can beat Alcaraz, he knows where his level's at. He knows his level's high. But I certainly think that Alcaraz can beat him because, again, if you look at this matchup, you're going to have the serve. I'd give that advantage Alcaraz. The forehand, the backhand are bigger, but Novak's forehand and backhand are more consistent. The movement, I don't know. It could be a draw. If I had to pick, I'd have to pick Djokovic when he's on because he's like Gumby out there, and not only can he move fast, he can also stretch out and basically have his legs almost go till they could snap off to get balls. So And of course, you got to give the experience and the overall mental toughness to Novak. But what I like about Alcaraz is he's got the mentality of these guys, right? He reminds you of Rafa. He reminds you of Novak. He's got that grit. He's got that combination to me too, especially Rafa, like of grit, confidence, but yet humble. That's special. And I think that's what's going to keep him hungry. As long as he can keep that humbleness about him and realize, and I'm sure that Rafa's told him this, and I'm sure he's listening since that's his idol. The only way to keep this train moving forward is hard work. Don't rest on what you did last week. Look at what you got to do next week to keep on top. And I think that's going to be a big determining factor of his success, that he has that mindset. I think it's already there at this age. I don't think you need to teach him this. I don't think he needs to be shown this. I think he already gets this. And a lot of people do not get it. And he already gets it. And that's what's going to make him so tough. So barring a really bad injury, which unfortunately in tennis is something you have got to consider, because it can happen on any shot and any move. It's such a dynamic game, and you're basically going out there like a high-performance sports vehicle every match, and you've got to be firing on all pistons to be able to play and beat these people. I just see this kid as unstoppable, and Rafa actually called him. That's the word that Rafa used, because I think he's unstoppable, really. That's what Rafa said. Can you imagine that? Your idol calling you unstoppable? That's got to be a pretty good shot in the arm. Alcaraz can do 7 Grand Slams. I totally agree. By the way, the cap you are wearing, that's from Chilean soccer team, isn't it? Absolutely it is, Claudia, from one of my Chilean students, Ruth, who went to Chile, and she came back, and she got me this hat, which was super nice of her. My buddy B2, who's laying beside me, she brought him back a dog toy, and she brought me back some Chilean chocolate. So, Ruth, if you're listening, thank you. You're the best. Nadal always loses in the quarterfinals at Madrid these days. Okay. How many times has he won Madrid, though? Like, Madrid is probably like one of his worst clay court tournaments, and I think he's still won that tournament like 5 or 6 times. I don't know. Can someone look that up for me? If someone said, Pete, how many times has he won Madrid? I'm going to guess conservatively 5 or 6 times, and that's like his worst clay court tournament. So, but hey, he always loses in the quarterfinals. Let me know what else you guys are thinking. Otherwise, I'm about to take off. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and react to what we saw today. This gives me new excitement and hope for tennis. I think this guy is the real deal. He's got something that's electrifying about him, which is kind of cool, because he's not he's not a show off. He's not a showboat. But there's something about him that's exciting to watch. That's pretty cool. And his game is unbelievable. His heart is great. His upside is incredible. The story today of watching him beat his idol and clapping him off the court, I think that's going to be I think that will be played over and over again. If this kid can come on and start to win Grand Slams, and I think it's really important for the sport of tennis that he does prove to be the real deal. If he can start to win Grand Slams in the next year or so, and especially he can somehow win a French Open, and my goodness, what if he does it against Rafa? I think they're going to play that a lot in the history of the game. I think they'll play that a lot throughout the years of this was the moment that he became who he is, a building of his legend, to where he clapped and cheered off Rafa off the court in total respect and admiration. I'm getting just so goosebumpy over here with this. Humble and brilliant. Perfect combination. Absolutely. Absolutely. Alcaraz is good as Rafa Novak, but not long-term opponents since the big three are getting older. So if he keeps his level, he could win 20 plus. Again, I think it's too soon to start doing the 20 plus stuff. I just think, and all I want is to see a legitimate champion. I just don't want the tour to be left in the hands of players that the public doesn't feel are real champions. Like a perfect example is when Novak went out of the US Open because he hit the ball woman and he was defaulted. And then we watched Zverev and Dominic Thiem play the finals of the US Open. We were all happy for Dominic, but I think a lot of us felt like that was not a real final. Like that didn't feel like a real championship final that we're used to. And we didn't feel like it was real champions playing. It almost felt like, when a baseball season goes on strike or a football season goes on strikes and you got the scab teams in there playing the games. That's what that final felt like to me. It didn't feel like a legit US Open championship. It did feel like an asterisk championship. And I'm not one that really likes to use that asterisk championship. I'm not really a big believer in that. But if ever that term were appropriate, it was that match. And I feel a lot of us don't want the tour to feel like that. Yeah, people are winning Grand Slams here and there, but it's just because Rafa, Roger, and Novak retired. They're not real champions. I don't want that. That's why I want Alcaraz to start really winning. I hope he can really start taking it to everybody, just brutally beating them down and winning on a consistent basis. And then I think the sport will get that legit champion that we have been looking for. Even if we don't want to see Roger, Rafa, and Novak go, I think deep down in our heart, we all know we need to see that for the good of the game. Even if they're playing against our favorite player, we need to see somebody have the ability to do it. And this kid is doing it. He is doing it. So lots of credit to him. All right, I'm going to put up a couple comments and then we're going to get out of here. Like Mac beating Borg, Connors. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Then we have a sneaky reason Alcaraz can dominate on the tour. He has the physical profile of the big, yes, 6'1". That's right. There's something about, I was talking about this with one of my students the other day. He's got that same physical structure he kind of looks like Novak, but stronger, right? A little stronger in the upper body. But yeah, it's that 6'1". Something about being, that 5'11" to 6'1". Let's just go through the list. Borg, yes. McEnroe, yes. Sampras, yes. Becker, slightly taller, but within that range, right? Sampras, a little taller maybe. Agassi, yes. Federer, yes. Djokovic, yes. Nadal, yes. Alcaraz, yes. And I leave with that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream at all, like it up, subscribe, and we'll see you on future videos.